This is a real one of a kind show that was the kind of thing that I got into anime to watch from the beginning. The kind of experience that I sought out. This is exactly the kind of feeling that I have been chasing since that I haven't really been able to find for so long. I haven't, this is that heightened emotion that I look for when I rate something a 10 out of 10. But the feeling and the attachment that I have, this is going to be one of those shows. I talk about it all the time. In a lot of my rants about, like, why do people watch this? Why do people watch this trash seasonal? Why do people watch all this fucking ecchi garbage? Why do people keep making all this shit? Why is it selling so much when it's so soulless and means nothing? This is the kind of experience that I am talking about when I talk about, like, what the effort and all of the money, all of the blood and sweat that goes into creating art. This is the kind of thing that people should aspire to make. Not just because it's sad, not just because, whatever, for whatever reason, but because it is a true inspiration. There's true care and artistry at work here. And this is why I watch anime, is stuff like this. Welcome, everybody, back to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is our reaction to the finale of the Clannad series. For those who are wondering, we will be watching the OVAs. Keep an eye on our community tab on the schedule if we're going to be posting them just to our exclusive tier on Patreon or on YouTube. We shall see. But what did you... what's up? What's going on? This is the last episode.
I'm getting stressed out now.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward. Like, I was, like, scared it was going to be emotional. But I was really looking forward to these last two episodes because it had been going in a way that I really liked. I really liked Ushio and, like, she was bringing change, but, like, a really good change. And now it's just sad.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna pull with, like, the other world kind of business. Like, they have to. This is the last episode. They have to, like, fully address that, I'm sure. But I don't know. We're in, like, this weird. Okazaki's standing there, like, his first meeting with Nagisa again, and he doesn't know, like, kind of whether to make the same choice or to ignore her, basically.
I don't know, because you got to think about, like, what the lesson is going to be at the end of this.
I know.
Like, I just talked about all that stuff with, like, Job and everything. Is the lesson just going to be that change comes no matter change comes in many forms. You have no control over how everything's going to go, and all you can do is weather that and accept it. Is that going to be the theme? The lesson that we learn from Clannad, or is the lesson going to be, if you weather it, good things will happen?
Yeah.
It could go either way, and I guess we'll find out right now. Please leave a like and subscribe if you like Clannad and Clannad After Story. If you want to see more series like this, make sure that you leave a suggestion in the comments. There's no guarantee that we'll get to that. Eventually, we are going to be reacting to more key anime in the future. Just as a quick thing, get this out of the way before we get into this. And we're going to be having an end-series discussion for both Clannad and Clannad After Story. It won't come out right away, but if you stay tuned on our channel, it will come out eventually. It's kind of rough for us to be, like, get our big setup right now. But we will be having a deeper dive after some period of time about both series individually, and then possibly one as a whole coming out in the future. So stay tuned for that. Please leave a like and subscribe. Check out Patreon if you want to see a bunch of other good stuff. Hopefully not better than this. I hope this is the best thing on our Patreon going forward, but I don't know, man. I'm so fucked up about this.
I'm really scared.
Let's check it out.
I don't trust it.
In a sad world where there's nothing. Alright, last time. Last OP. Never experience it like this again. There was a constellation there. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have brought her out. So it is Okazaki.
Yeah.
そうだ。渚に声をかけるべきじゃなかったのかもしれない。俺と出会わなければ、渚は。
Frozen. No chance for change if everything's frozen.
私はここに残らなければならないの。どうして？こちらの世界ではこの世界そのものだったから。わからないよ。だって約束したじゃないか。一緒にこの世界を出よう。私がいなくなったらこの世界もなくなってそうすればたくさんの光たちが不幸になる。光？たくさん舞っていた光？そう。あれはね、向こうの世界たちの思いだったの。君も光の一つだったんだよ。一番近いもう一つの世界。私たちはずっとそこにいたんだよ。同じ場所にいたの。ただ見え方が違う。もう一つの世界？そこにもう一人の僕がいるの。君にはわかるはず。だって君は二つの世界に存在してるから。世界という距離を超えて私たちが出会うことができはそれで十分。この世界での意識を閉じる。そして向こうの世界で目覚める人と出会っていろんなことがあって、そして君は私と出会う。また会える。向こうの世界で大勢の人の思い。世界では光になって見えるように、私の世界ではいくつもの光になって輝くの。光は小さくてもたくさん集まればとても不思議な大きな力になるはず。その歌。そう、いつも私に歌ってくれていた歌。さよなら、歌。
俺はここにいるぞ。
ともやくん、よかったです。声かけてもらえて。私と出会わなければよかったとかそんなこと思ってるんじゃないかってすごく不安でした。私、ともやくんと出会えてよかったです。とても幸せでした。何が待っていようとも私と出会えたこと後悔しないでください。ダメでしょうか？
そうだよな。ありがとう。
School.
お連れしましょうか。この街の願いが叶う場所に。
今終わる長い長い旅が。渚。渚。
ともやくん、
渚。
どうかしましたか？ともやくん。
今。
岡崎さん、赤ちゃんもお母さんももう心配いりませんよ。
Is this real?
I don't know.
お前もよく
I hope it is.
牛を産湯につけてあげてくれませんか？
Who gets the first lick?
はい。
お湯が入らないように耳を押さえて。 ゆっくりね。気持ちいいね。ガーゼで拭いてあげてください。牛尾ちゃん、パパにキレキレしてもらって嬉しいね。
ご苦労様でした。
元気な赤ちゃんですね。
ずっと元気でいてほしいです。
大丈夫だ。心も体も強い子になる。絶対にな。
はい。ともやくん、
Don't look
窓の
outside
外
the window.
見てください。とても綺麗です。
Be lights.
雪のことかじゃない。これは
団子団子
They're really getting us with the song episode.
大家族
New version.
団子団子団子大家族。
もし人と同じような意志や心があるとして、そこに住む人たちを幸せにしようってそんな思いでいるとしたら、こんな奇跡も街の仕業かもしれないです。でもそれは奇跡じゃないですよね。街を大好きな人が街に住み、人を好きな街が人を愛する、ここにでもある当たり前のことのはずです。私たちは街を愛、街に育まれてるんです。
町は家族か。
はい、団子大家族です。
そうだな。俺にもやっと分かった気が。
Is she gonna find the robot?
That would
Oh,
be cool.
Botan.
He's so big. He looks so cool.
Oh, the convertible bug. This is so beautiful.
So nice.
It's so incredible, man. It's so awesome. So I don't fully get it. Should we stop?
No, we should just keep going.
I don't know if like did we just watch another reality unfold or did the
Did it change? I think it might have changed. I hope so. She smelled Ushio.
Dongo.
Like the anticipation.
I know, yeah,
姉ちゃんは学校の先生だったから現実的すぎるんです。では分かりやすく言います。もう一度言うので何のでも言ってください。
At this point, they're just fucking with us.
Yeah.
じゃないです。
Oh my
They-
god, dude.
They know.
They know.
This is like once we see it now, it's like confirmed, but they're like waiting so they're drawing it out so
It's like
long.
the end of Inception. Is it gonna fall over?
大丈夫です。フーコ
Was it a dream all along?
もう一度行きます。
Just go.
誰かがいます。
Wait.
何の匂い？
Hold.
きっとフーコに会いに来たんの匂い？きっとフーコに会いに来たんです。どういうことですか？可愛らしい匂いです。そこで眠っています。誰かに起こされるのを待ってるんです。
What?
ですので行ってきます。ルーちゃん、お姉ちゃんも会いたかったら早く来てください。あそこの木の下です。いるの？
What?
でもとても可愛らしい子です。ルーちゃん、ルーちゃんってば。
Well, if it's the same place, right? The hospital.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Thought you got Thanos there for a second or something. This is
the
OP,
OP.
OP1, OP1.
いますか？フーコです。
What? It's
あ
Ushio.
なたのお名前は何て言うんですか？教えてください。フーコとお友達になって一緒に遊びましょう。楽しいことはこれから始まりますよ。
The episode. Oh, the constellation. There was. What?
How? I don't. Maybe I'm dumb,
I don't
but I
think you
feel
are.
like I don't understand. I feel like I like it, but I don't. What does it mean?
Did she die? Oh, we didn't watch with Fuko and Ushio.
They just showed up. They weren't there last time.
We didn't. Did we watch this far in the
Yeah,
ending?
yeah. We watched this last time, and they
Oh. Well,
weren't
that means
there.
she's alive, but
So after, oh, preview. We probably shouldn't watch this. This is for the OVA. I really loved that episode, but
does that mean she's fucking dead in that world? Is if this is parallel worlds and parallel timelines? Does that mean we were following the timeline the entire time, where Ushio just fucking dies at the end? That whole time, that was the arc.
But then we saw like the whole like nice timeline, and then we saw this end thing with Fuko, and we saw like the flash of like the other world girl, aka Ushio, and Fuko's like, oh, she's like ready to wake up and all.
But she doesn't know. Like, Fuko doesn't know who that is, so it's not the same situation, because Fuko really loved Ushio and wanted to be with Ushio, so she knew who Ushio was in the timeline that we were watching. So if she's like sees clearly Ushio in the forest lying alone, then what does that mean?
If there's a Ushio in the forest and no one but Fuko is there to see it, what does it mean?
I don't understand. And I don't know whether to be really sad.
I don't.
Because from what we saw, there's like the whole parallel worlds thing was like more confirmed and expounded upon. But it became more complex to the point where I think there's a many worlds interpretation where what we were seeing was either erased and replaced with something better, but then at the end it doesn't make sense that Fuko... I guess then Fuko...
But if it was the new timeline, maybe she didn't hang out with Fuko like she did on that one occasion.
But why wouldn't they?
I don't know. But it seemed like it did get, like, it seemed like history literally got rewritten with that interaction because he saw Nagisa and then she, like, he chose to go after her again, and then in doing that, it was good this time because he knew the absolute worst that could ever happen, and he chose to do it again. And then the next time was rewarded for that by
because
having
he accepted the change.
Because he accepted that it could go horribly wrong, but that it was worth it anyway. And because of that, then he got the good version, which is their happy life together, where Nagisa lives and Ushio is fine.
But then why was she...
But the end part is like what threw me off. I thought it was gonna be...
Maybe in the other timeline, Ushio still died? Or, like, that same thing happened or something? Like, basically, like, we got to that point where she was fine, but then she did get sick, the same as Nagisa. Same thing kind of happened, and then, I guess, like, they just found her in the wood. Like, I don't...
yeah.
Or, that's the same thing that happened to Fuko. How Fuko was in a coma, and her ghost was being seen by everyone else. So maybe Ushio is now in a coma and is asleep, and when is she going to wake up, etc., etc. But Fuko can see that because she lived the same thing. That might be thinking about it too much, but I think it does kind of make sense. Let's check out what she said. I don't know how much of an analysis we can do.
I feel like before the Fuko part, I feel like I kind of, like, I get what was going on there. Yeah, that was the OP before.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we need to rewatch what Fuko said in part 1. Like, listen to it. What did you see? Will you tell Fuko? Let's be friends and play together. The fun is only just about to begin.
I don't know.
I don't get it. Cause like if it like it still felt like I think you're right. That seems like the most generous and like metaphorically sound interpretation that I can glean from that.
What, like this part?
What you said of like that everything that he chose to go after her. And his choice, like, is, you know, that was reflected well.
And yeah, no, the whole, like, the voiceover of that entire thing was like, oh, if a city wants its people to be happy, then it'll do things to make them happy or whatever. And it's all about, like, you know, this is the good thing now. And they're having a really good time and everyone's...
It all seems good, but it just seems like we're seeing into a dream. It seems like a dream. It seems like we saw the real end... And this is Okazaki dreaming a better future. That's like a cynical interpretation.
To me, I don't think so because we already knew there's the other world. There's literal magic involved. We saw stuff with the cat, and then I think what makes me like think that it's confirmed is the fact all the lights were out there. It was like they were harnessing the whole, like, the goodness of everything to, like, make this alternate timeline be real. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. It just seems...
The only thing that's throwing me off is the ending, and maybe the ending is, like... I joked about, like, if there's a Ushio in the forest and only Fuko's there to see it, but it's like, is that literally what that is? Is they literally just threw that in there to, like...
Make you
second guess, or, like... confused, because then we saw the other world, like, totally blown to pieces, and, like, but it was confirmed that was Ushio and Okazaki in there, and, like, then the moment with Nagisa, but, like, that was like, there's, like, they were in, like, like, outside of the world, they had that, like, moment together, and then they, like, came to it again, and Okazaki was like, oh, we were just together, and Nagisa says, yes, so it's like they both, like, recollect that to a degree.
Oh, so like, Ushio is the reincarnation of Nagisa?
No. I'm just saying that, like, the moment after. I'm saying that I think that, like, I still think the same thing, that the good timeline came after that, but it, like, kind of changed.
It overrode it?
It overrode it. And I think that because, like, once he, like, kind of, like, woke up back into the birth, he still remembered, like, vaguely that there was something else before. Yeah.
I think I understand everything you're saying, and I agree that it seems good, but there's this nagging feeling that something is wrong, and that, like, that's not what's going on.
The only thing I can come up with is that, so the good timeline happened, this is still in that thing, but what was happening there and why she was sleeping like that is maybe because the other world, like, got destroyed.
So they, like... Ushios?
No, so that Ushio, like, other world Ushio and, like, this world Ushio, like, met. Because, yeah, I don't know.
I can only guess. This, like, is escaping my entire understanding of all of this, because it seems so great that everything could get rewritten. It seems perfect. It seems a bit too perfect, given everything that we've learned so far. All the stuff about change, unless you consider...
a happy ending.
Unless we consider what you said, that he literally did get a second chance, they literally did get to talk again in that, and it was, like, the city or the universe or whatever testing him to see if it was worth it, or if he was willing to accept that change. And he wasn't he? Let's rewatch that scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was going to let it pass by, and then he went after her. And then this is the life passing by, where everything was.
I love that they use real footage for this, and it just shows you they filmed all this, it looks like, and used it for the show, just from a production standpoint. Like, these are all, you could kind of tell that this is real. It's not just drawings. Where wishes come true, that's where Ushio was found. The long, long journey. Did she say wishes or dreams?
It's wishes.
Wishes.
And we already know that wishes can come true.
The long, long journey is coming to an end. Which journey? I think both interpretations work, and I don't know which one I believe. Because after rewatching that scene where he goes to Nagisa, it seems like she's basically saying, you have to accept it and just understand. I was hoping that you know, I'm glad you stopped me. Because she's still talking as if she died.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying this is, like, out of any timeline.
No, this is like, she's saying I had a happy life, meaning she's dead.
Yeah.
Right? So it's out of reality, but it is after the timeline we followed for the whole show.
Yeah.
Because she's dead,
yeah,
right?
And he's still in that
Yes,
here.
yes. No matter what may await. She says, no matter what may await, please don't regret meeting me. As if she's preparing him for bad shit. Like his daughter dying. Is that too much to ask? You're right. And then that's it.
She's saying, like, yeah, no matter what, even if it's as bad as possible, don't regret it. And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't regret it, even if it was as bad. And then we have this, which seems to just be like shots from, like, their life while in school. And then we get to this moment.
And then it just goes over all their happy life.
Everyone's dead. We're all dead.
I think we need, guys, everyone out there, please tell us if there's like a video that explains all of this or
I
something.
feel that I really wish that I understood.
I think you're right. It seems off to me. Like, it seems like that's not the whole story.
It seems like there's another level.
Yeah, well, it seems like maybe either there's multiple interpretations or the fact that it could go either way necessarily, I think yours is more likely than what I'm saying. Like, that's probably what's happening. But the fact that it could go, that it's mysterious is the point, because the fact that we don't know what the future holds for them or what is actually going to happen in the future. We just know the bad shit that's happened in the past. We can't guess at what happens in the future. And that's the point. Everything changes. So many unexpected things happen and you can't plan for it. You just have to accept it and hope that things turned out for the best. So it's not necessarily that if you endure the pain, it will work out. It's that it might work out. Mm-hmm. That seems like the main theme of the story, which is incredibly sad considering what that means for the story. You know, that like there was a time where Ushio and Nagisa fucking died. They literally died. Like it wasn't a mystery. Like we watched Ushio fucking die, literally. Mm-hmm. And that's blowing my mind right now. It's like I guess what I'm feeling is, I don't know if I'm feeling dissatisfaction. I think I am feeling dissatisfaction, but it's like I feel like it's part of the point that it's like beyond your understanding. It's beyond our comprehension.
Well, that's what I'm saying by this ending scene with Fuko is like, I think that it's literally here so that you like question like what's kind of happening, you know what I mean?
Because then is Okazaki dead? Is the idea that he sacrificed himself?
I don't know.
And like maybe he made the wish to like give his life to save Ushio? And this is like months later, if it's like after winter? Say, maybe that's the thing. Maybe Okazaki literally sacrificed himself with that wish that he got, gave his life for Ushio, and Ushio, like, maybe after that, they, for that winter. Oh, maybe for that winter, they both went into that alternate world. Mm-hmm. Because she died first, and then he, like, wished to sacrifice himself for her. And then he was built, and, like, his soul went to that world and was taken, and then he tried to save her again. And then and then they failed, and the world exploded, and then here. And now she's reborn, and he's gone. He, like, got obliterated, basically. But she is here now. And what we saw was a dream or a alternate future or a life. Basically, that was maybe his reward for staying true. And maybe he did, like, answer this sort of greater question where he was met with the opportunity to let it all be gone and not happen at all. But he chose to let it happen. And as a reward, his spirit was at peace, and his version of heaven, where he got to live with Nagisa and raise their daughter in his own world, in his own parallel world. But just like how her world was this empty world, and she was the world she could not leave until it was destroyed, that was his world, where he was the center of that, basically. And he got the heaven that he wanted. But now, after that whole flashback where we see the world we wanted, and everything we think turned out a certain way, then we cut back to Fuko, and what's happening in the actual world. And after the winter, after everything was over, now it's summer again. It's spring or summer, whatever. The snow is gone. All of that is gone. That world is gone. And in the real world, in this world, after all that, Okazaki sacrificed himself using that wish so that she could be brought back here. That's why Fuko is acting like she doesn't know who this is, because it's been like months since they like disappeared or died or whatever. And then she stumbles upon her body in the forest and is like either confused or like, I hope you wake up so we can play, or maybe their memories were altered just like how Fuko's was. Or just like how everyone else's was after Fuko left, after this like this supernatural interference happened, and Fuko's spirit went away and everyone's memories of her went away. Maybe after they went away, everyone's memories of her went away, including Fuko. But she sought her out. She maybe has that connection to the supernatural and went and saw her out. That's why she could smell her, whatever. You know what I mean? I think that is the best interpretation, if you think about it.
I think, like, I can see how you get that. I, personally, that's not what I, like, get out of it at all, really. Like, I don't, maybe it's just me, like, choosing to like, what I believe in. It's a choose your own adventure.
Well, it literally is a choose your own adventure.
I choose to believe in what I think is, like, the truth that I'm getting out of this is what I said, is that he...
Can you explain it in a way that incorporates all of the different aspects of it? Or, like, you know, did I say something that maybe makes you think a little bit more about it, or...
I guess, well, my thing that I think about this thing at the end is if... I don't know. It's like the other world has disappeared, and now it's, like... normal, you know what I mean? Like the microscopic world no longer exists after that. Like, it was such a grand wish that it took, like, all of that to then create the good reality, and now it's just, like, normal. And
I feel like I'm onto something with mine. I genuinely do. I want to hear, what did, somebody said something about, you said about, maybe Nagisa was talking about. Let's just rewatch the start. The tree. It's like they're lying under the tree just like how she is in the other world, or in the main world. I don't know.
do you see what I mean, though? Like, when she's talking... and she's like, oh, so, like, she, like, literally transforms into all these lights, and she's like, oh, you'll see all these lights in your world. And then when she's born, outside is, like, full of lights. They're, like, the blue lights, and they're flying away. And it's like all this, it's like almost, it almost seems like all the sadness is leaving the world. Like, all these blue lights in this dark city are, like, flying out and away. And then it's just, you know, happy.
I think that your interpretation of things is correct. But as far as the thing at the end, it seems like now the two parallel worlds are, like, Okazaki's world and Ushio's world. And Okazaki's world is the happy one where everything went great, and then Ushio's world is, like, the real world where, like, everything, because she was like, if I were to leave this world, then everything would disappear and everyone's lives would end in, or everyone's would end in misery. And then the world disappears and she leaves. Mm-hmm. So she says that everybody's feelings would end in misery. And then she leaves, proving, like, that literally that happens. Like, everyone's feelings end in misery. In our main world that we saw, there was so much misery all the time. Everything was changing and being consumed by sadness. And Ushio ended up dying. And then she, I guess, was there at the end. I don't know.
But then she was saying that, like, if the world goes away, then, like, I guess maybe that could mean that if that world goes away, then there is no more wishes because their happy thought, like, there's no longer that, like, happy... The like happy moment makes the wish, which then goes and is stored there for her to then, like, bequeath it back upon something. So if she chose as her final act to use all of the remaining good things to do this one big thing, but then there's no more. There's no more, that's what I'm saying, there's no more magic world, there's no more magic wishes that can turn a cat into a human and this, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That doesn't exist anymore, because it took everything to get this. You know what I mean?
That doesn't sound right.
Maybe not. I don't know.
That doesn't sound right. I feel like you're on the right track, but I don't know, guys. I think this might be something to revisit.
How do people know about this? Does it get revealed in that? Like, I don't know. Maybe the OVAs will, like.
I think it's a multiple viewing thing. I think that we just have to watch it again, and watch the beginning parts again, and we'll have a better idea. We would need to rewatch it and pay attention to all the stuff with Fuko and all the stuff that Kotomi ever says, and basically watch front to back every single of the otherworld moments, and Nagisa's play, and how when she learned that, yeah, I don't know. Do you like the ending?
I do. You said
you
that you feel unsatisfied. I feel like...
I meant that in like a... Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I meant like I just have this weird, like, satisfied feeling. Not, like, overjoyed, not sad, not really even emotional, just like, yeah. But, like, not even excited, yeah. Just like, yes.
And then it was all as it should be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, weirdly. I don't know.
I was gonna say one more thing about something. And I guess I would say she talks about the other world. She doesn't refer to there being multiple other worlds. So that's why I think that it literally, like, kind of rewrote or, like, changed that world. Because she says, oh, we were there, like, maybe it was a long time ago, maybe it was, like, recently, and we'll meet there again now. And then it like blew apart, and then he went back, back in time, but like
he went to where Nagisa is, and then eventually they did meet up when she was born, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Then why is she laying in the forest?
I don't know.
That makes me think that there's two timelines, because why the fuck would Ushio be laying in the and the fact that she is there in her other world form,
mm-hmm.
when Fuko's first watching up, then she turns into the other, like, the baby Ushio. It seems like the whole sacrifice thing is at least plausible for that. It just, like, if that scene wasn't there, then I would be totally fine with everything that you're saying. But that's where that feeling of, like, I'm like 98% sure, but there's a little doubt that things didn't turn out so great. And it's not negative reflecting on, like, the quality of the show at all. I think about what would my preferred ending be, and I don't think I have I don't think I could think of a better ending for this. I don't think that her just waking up and being fine and then them living a happy life as a family would be necessarily better than this. Like, it would be more cliche. It's just like, this is something way more personal and way more thought out, and hopefully thought out. Maybe it's just like the programmer from Angel Beats, that whole thing. I won't get into it in case somebody hasn't seen it, but, like, this thing at the end where everything gets all crazy, and, like, all this too deep for you stuff is being said, and maybe that's why this stuff, like, part of my cynical side is thinking maybe that's why all this otherworld stuff has been seeded all this time, was so that once we got to the end there could be, like, this ambiguous explosion of philosophy and lack of understanding, and it feels like this larger than life thing, which is super common, especially with older anime, but like a lot of classic anime end in a similar kind of way. Yeah, there's like, I don't know. It's a great ending. I really like this as an ending, but I want to know more about it, and I also kind of don't, because I feel like part of the mystique of it, part of what makes it special as an ending, is that I don't fully understand it, because like, the story is literally dealing with things that are beyond, like, high school Okazaki's comprehension.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with parallel universes and shit, and, like, stuff that Kotomi, a child genius, has been studying her entire life to try and figure out, and her parents died trying to figure out. Like,
mm-hmm.
It makes sense that it is this larger than life thing, and whether that's just an illusion to make it seem deeper than it actually is, or to create this feeling in me, it's effective. Whether Jun Maeda knows the answer and how it all actually 100% really fits together,
mm-hmm.
or he just wrote it kind of crazy and to convey the emotion in the audience that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I think that that's more likely. I feel like he made it so that there are multiple interpretations, and so that he can instill this feeling of like curiosity, wonder, sadness, and happiness. This like hodgepodge of conflicting emotions that you feel when watching this, and like the confusion, curiosity, the happiness and sadness, the fear and anger of Ushio, and everything. It's uncommon that you see a show end, or that has an ending like this, or that's a show as emotionally impactful as this one was, sort of instill that like complexity of emotion. And because I think it is more emotionally written. I don't think it's necessarily written in the most logical way. I think that possibly the reason this was included was to give off that feeling, not necessarily to tie everything up in a nice bow. It was meant to be confusing and to instill that in the audience, which I think is a good way to go. I think it's fitting for his writing style, and I think it's fitting for the story. But I can't help but feel like I would have loved to see Ushio, eat some rice again at some point, and just like be happy in them to deal with remembering Nagisa, and her maybe seeing a scene of her growing up or something.
Do you like almost wish that the series just didn't take that turn of Ushio getting sick, but continued on? Nagisa's dead. This is the way it is, but it's still gonna be a really good life.
Or maybe she did get sick, and the wish, instead of all this shit, was she would be brought to the same thing that Akio did with Nagisa, and he would have to repeat that same thing, but instead bring her to the field where she lost the robot. Maybe they would find the robot, and in that moment he would make the wish. This is what I was thinking. The wish would come to fruition, and then all the petals would erupt in like a storm and turn into light or something and go off into the distance, and then she, on the edge of death, would like brighten up, and very much mirroring what happened with Akio. She would be better and come back from the brink of death, but this time it would be even better, because they are out of this like city that is just like soul sucking, and is the product of the other world girl dying and choosing to leave or whatever, and making everyone's feelings end in misery, and that domain is represented in the city. So them leaving the city is the symbolic thing of accepting change in their own way, and moving on and moving to a different place, and accepting their own form of change, and that's how they survive, and that's how they live together, successfully leaving. And then she comes from the brink of death, and the cherry on top, we get like a montage of Ushio growing up, or at least like her later in life, maybe just a picture later, and she's clearly like not suffering from the same thing that Nagisa did, or maybe we see her child or something like that as the last thing. That was my like dream scenario of like this still having the magic, this larger than life thing, but still grounding it within their family. And it does fit with the sort of themes that have been tied up so far. That's what I would have done if I wrote this. That would definitely be the way that I would have plotted it out. But I like the way that it is because I didn't think of that. And I'm not sure what is happening. But I like it, and I
have no idea what's going on. Love it. All right.
We have a lot of different ideas of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the real magic, is that that's what makes it feel like magic.
And I guess that's what has me wondering, like, is there a confirmed like interpretation of this, or is it just, or like is there a prevalent, or is it just, there's a prevalent idea within people who've watched this that this is like the right interpretation? Because it's kind of like that with Angel Beats, where there's like, I won't spoil it, but there's like something that isn't said but that is like heavily believed, and then Can
like, you explain it in a way, because I don't actually know what you're talking about.
Just the stuff with the programmer.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then like kind of confirmed in like a separate like 5-minute, like 2-minute clip. So I don't know if this is kind of like that, where it's like up to interpretation, but there's like kind of a right interpretation. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think that there is something for like the self-sacrifice, because if you think of the whole robot thing as a limbo, as a test of his courage or his conviction, and then him awaking with Nagisa not dying as a reward for his conviction, as the heaven that he wanted, an equally real world. And then the fact that it's not what we see at the very end with Fuko and shit, it makes me think that that is his heaven, and that is he sacrificed himself so that she could awaken the forest and be alive, because that was his last wish, and he was rewarded for, accepting the change by choosing to go back with Ushio despite everything, Like that seems like the most concrete answer that ties together everything, but there's still shit that, especially in dialogue, that doesn't make sense. It seems like the most solid interpretation to me, though. But it also is way more sad than it actually being reality. But if you think that that's reality, then there has to be a way to explain Ushio laying there in the forest at the end. Because if you can't explain that, then I can't accept that Nagisa not dying and them growing up as a family as the real thing. It seems more like a dream. It seems too good to be true. It seems like heaven.
Yeah.
It seems too perfect. I don't know, man.
I guess I just want it to be real.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be heaven. I don't think I would like it as much if it was heaven.
That seems a bit too good. And it seems like that it's supposed to be too good, because we see Ushio at the end and she's not with Nagisa. She's not
but
with
she
anyone.
said that she would see Okazaki again in the other, back in the world, so I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either. I don't know. Tell us what your interpretation is. Tell us if there's a video that we could watch. I saw people on Patreon recommending, hey, check after you're finished, you might want to check out this or that video. We're going to watch the OVAs before we get into all of this. I want to be able to experience that with our own understanding of the show. Or without outside influence. We'll watch that, experience it for ourselves, and then go off and start theory crafting a bit more. But I'm really intrigued by this. Do you want to give a rating yet?
I don't know. No, okay, here's what I did not like it once Ushio got sick. I was this kind of I felt kind of that it was kind of cheap. You know what I mean? I felt oh, it's the same thing as Nagisa and she died. And I felt like that was kind of just okay, you just did that instead of saying something I don't know. I felt like it was stronger. The best part of the story was when Okazaki and Ushio are, learning to be a family, and he's, accepting that really bad things happened, but he can still,
power through it,
make
for
the best
else.
out of... And also, good things can come out of bad things, and I liked that message. I was sad that Nagisa was gone, but I was happy that now they get to have this life. And it's not the one that he wanted or the one that was planned, but it's still good and is going to be beautiful, and they're going to have a beautiful life together. So then I felt once I felt that was a solid end to what had been Clannad. I felt just continuing along that track. I don't know what the exact events, but in that same line of it's not perfect, but it's good.
It's not perfect, but it is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. It's not exactly not perfect, but still beautiful and still a wonderful good life. I liked that, and that's what I was prepared for the end. So then when Ushio gets snatched away kind of out of nowhere and seemingly not really serving a purpose other than more pain in Okazaki's life, I was a little bit how are you gonna bring this back into an ending that I want to see, not one that was just ridiculously sad for not really any reason other than to just be really depressing and sad. But I was like, when I say I feel satisfied by this ending, I really...
It doesn't sound like you do, because
I'm saying that I had a problem until this last episode I had a problem with. This episode, to me, solved the problem.
In what way?
In the way that it... Because my interpretation of this ending is that because he went through all of that and then made the same decision again, knowing the worst that could happen, like, then he got the good.
But how do you explain Fuko and Ushio?
I don't know.
I like it. I think the show's still a 10 out of 10 for me right now. I'll need to think about it more, and we need to watch the OVAs and see what's up with everything involved, and we will need to explore a little bit more and to see if that sticks, because I feel like there's a chance that it could drop, but it won't drop probably below a 9 for me. For right now, after everything, I have this empty feeling in me, and it could just be that feeling you get when you finish a show you really like and you feel that like emptiness and that lack of satisfaction, or that like, what do we do now, where do we go from here, and the ambiguity of the ending is I think feeding into that and making this like discontent kind of grow within me if I'm like analyzing myself. But when I think about it, it like the fact that I'm feeling this deeply about it, I don't know when the last time I felt this deeply about a show was. Like, I've appreciated things just as much, like, when I think about all my favorites, like Attack on Titan or whatever, like, when I was super into Attack on Titan or super into Death Note or Berserk especially. I think the last time I felt like this was the end when I finished the Berserk anime. That, like, I won't spoil it, but, like, the end of Berserk, it's, like, this weird ambiguous ending, and it ends at a weird time, and it's, like, a read the manga type ending, but there's so much to interpret, and it makes you hunger to get that satisfaction, because everything it's left on it's kind of left hanging, and that's the thing that I feel here. But it doesn't feel like a go by the visual novel type ending. It seems like they wanted to induce this feeling of emptiness, confusion, like I said, this hodgepodge, this like collection of many different conflicting emotions that makes it feel like you're not satisfied, or like, why couldn't it just have ended up like this, or why did it have to go that deep? Why did you have to go this direction? But it's supposed to feel like that, I think, and the fact that you are feeling that's like the fact that I am feeling like that. But I think the fact that this feeling is accompanying this final chapter is an intentional choice to put you in the shoes of Okazaki and to feel the lack of certainty of the future, or the lack of acceptance of everything that happens. This might be what he felt when he lost Nagisa and had to deal with all this shit and didn't know what was going to happen and didn't understand the way the world was, or why everything was so cruel, or etc., etc. And this also hope and love, cherishing of these different memories and wondering what could have been, or what is possibly, what will be, what will not be. You know, this wondering about the future, not understanding everything on its own. I think that all of that is an intentional choice, and that's why I think I like the ending. But once again, we'll see how I feel after thinking about it a little bit more and watching a little bit more. Anything you want to say? We are going to have a full-on discussion as well.
Yeah, and that will be after we've watched all the OVAs and, like, probably watched
some time as well.
Whatever additional material we may need in order to, like, gain a fuller understanding. But obviously this is, like, kind of a record of, like, our original, so we'll be able to, like, see if anything changes, or we, you know, whatever happens is going to happen, but we'll be doing a discussion to, like, keep you all in the loop.
Indeed.
On what it is. I really like this show. I just want to say, like, similar to you, I didn't think that this show, especially based on season 1, I was like, everyone's saying that this show is, like, so good, but it's just all right. And then even when things, like, at the start of After Story were, like, a million times better, it was still, like, nice show, you know? But it went from, like, being just a good show, like, kind of, I mean, not necessarily, like, forgettable, but a little bit forgettable, to just being, like, completely unforgettable and a true experience. You really felt like you were there. And I appreciate that. It was really good.
Well, with that, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all the patrons. And thank you to all of the people who've stuck with us for the last 6 months watching this show. It's been an incredible ride. Thank you guys for recommending this, and thanks for sticking with us while we watched it and waiting for us to watch it. For everybody who's been here since Angel Beats and Charlotte.
Thank you.
This was an incredible experience. I was not expecting for most of the watching period that I would love the show this much. This is a real one of a kind show that was the kind of thing that I got into anime to watch from the beginning. The kind of experience that I sought out after getting hooked on anime, or getting hooked on, like, back when I watched Breaking Bad and whatever, True Detective, or whatever other incredibly well made Western show, or all the things that I watched growing up. All of these experiences, this is exactly the kind of feeling that I have been chasing since that I haven't really been able to find for so long. I haven't, this is that heightened emotion that I look for when I rate something a 10 out of 10. But not only that, this is like an S plus 10 out of 10. This is like an 11, possibly. One of those things that, like, Promised Neverland Season 1 is a 10 out of 10, but it's not like a complete experience because there's so much more to experience, and it doesn't really measure up to the first thing. Whatever, I would rate that season a 10 out of 10. And I would also rate this a 10 out of 10. But the feeling and the attachment that I have, this is going to be one of those shows. I talk about it all the time. In a lot of my rants about, like, why do people watch this? Why do people watch this trash seasonal? Why do people watch all this fucking ecchi garbage? Why do people keep making all this shit? Why is it selling so much when it's so soulless and means nothing? This is the kind of experience that I am talking about when I talk about, like, what the effort and all of the money, all of the blood and sweat that goes into creating art. This is the kind of thing that people should aspire to make. Not just because it's sad, not just because, whatever, for whatever reason, but because it is a true inspiration. There's true care and artistry at work here. And this is why I watch anime, is stuff like this. So thank you guys for staying tuned. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Thank you guys for all of your support on Patreon and for supporting us throughout this show. And we hope that you stay tuned for the discussions, the OVAs, and everything that we have to come in the future. Any last words?
Thanks for watching.
Well, yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and see you for what comes next. Bye-bye.